Like Mr. Hand said, my name's Cannon Bird. I'm 13. I'm in the 8th grade. And it's such an honor and a privilege to come here and speak in front of you guys today and just to share what God's put on my heart. And what he really put on my heart to speak about was how God just transformed my life in such a extraordinary way. So my whole story starts before I was born. My birth mom was actually 13 years old when she was pregnant with me. And her family was very supportive of her getting an abortion. They would have been fine with it. But God had his hand on my life before I was born, and I was saved before birth. And God put me in, I was adopted into my amazing family, and a family that loved me and cared for me so much. And up until about 2 years old, my whole life was normal, sunshines and rainbows. It looked like it was going to be great. But about 2 years old, my dad left. And those years following were very hectic, crazy years. And it was like that, and I was about 8 years old, and my dad married this new woman who's a very evil, wicked woman, not a good person. Do not recommend marrying her, by the way. And then all throughout, from 2 to however old I was when he left, I was very neglected. I was always isolating myself at his house. And so when he married her, at that point, all of my other siblings had left his house. Very smart decision. Very smart decision. It was not a very good place to be in the slightest. And I lived I have to walk a little bit. I can't stand still. And from when he married her, I just remember the feeling of just, you've been replaced, you're rejected, he doesn't love you. And I lived with that nearly up until maybe 6 months ago. So I was like, if he loves me so much, why would he replace me? And he really did. He did replace me. He favored her family over me, and I was so hurt by that. And so what I did is I blamed everything on God. I saw it as God's fault. I thought, if he's so almighty, why can't he make things fair? At about 11 years old, my dad left again. He, I guess, didn't want to stick around. So he left again, and I can't even express what I felt. It was this bitterness, hatred, just pure anger towards him. I hated him, and I held this unforgiveness towards him. And that's the worst thing you can do. And after he left, I struggled with so much. But God always had his hand on my life. You know, I blamed him for everything. You know, is the easiest way to do things, so it's what I did. I blamed him. I remember this day specifically. I've never doubted God's existence once. I've been raised in church my whole life. I just didn't care for church. But this time specifically, I said, and I remember exactly what I said. I said, God, I know you're real, but I hate you. I want nothing to do with you. I'd much rather serve the devil than serve you. And I was just fed up with him. But even though I hated him so much, he loved and he pursued me my whole life. And so 7th grade, I started Epic, and I hated school. I hated God. Christian school was not my cup of tea. I did not like it that much. But everything started to change halfway through, about December. I just got fed up with just being hopeless and having nothing, you know, because when I was just completely empty, and my heart was just hardened by the world. And so December, I decided I'll just give a little bit of my heart to God. And so I gave him a little bit of my heart. In return, he gave me so much of his love. And I just gave him a little bit of my heart. And what happened is December to the end of 7th grade year, just little by little, I start trusting him more and more. And I wish I could say it was all sunshine and rainbows from there, but it was not. I had a huge problem with committing to God, so I would fall away. and then I'd be ashamed, I'd be scared because of my other personal experiences that he wasn't going to let me back in. He wasn't going to accept me, even though because I fell away. But that wasn't what happened. So when I would go back to him, I realized that he always accepted me back with open arms and just the love of a father. So the start of my 8th grade year, I kind of started to walk more into the love God had for me, just little by little. So, and then about halfway through my 8th grade year, so December, January of this year, I decided, why not just, what the heck, give it my all. So I fully dedicated my life to God, and I've never regretted it since then, because there was this love that I felt that I haven't felt ever because of what had happened in my past. I gave my heart out to the world, and it got completely thrashed by the world. From what had happened, my heart was what I imagined just like a brick. It was very hard, cold. I couldn't receive love. I couldn't give love. But what happened when I gave my full heart to God, it says in Ecclesiastes or Ezekiel somewhere that when we are like a changed image in God, he gives us a new heart, a heart of flesh, and a new spirit. And so he gave me a heart that could actually love again, that could give love, receive love. And none of that would have happened if Epic really hadn't just given me that opportunity. And I knew God, now I know because of Epic, God has such a huge calling on my life that I couldn't see because of the devil. And I promise God has a huge calling on every single one of your guys' lives. And the devil's going to try to take that off. He's going to try to make you stray just as much as he did to me. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.